Tonight, only 8 sleeps to go till we head to the polls. It's time to refocus on what the major parties promised so far.
Why Bobby Bashram's dream of conquering Everest comes with its own unique set of challenges.
All the planets have to align for me.
How Keanu Reeves is helping one Aussie op shop bring more money into the tills.
Plus, Aussie actor Kat Stewart is moving in with total strangers, and she joins us live to tell us all about it. This is The Project.
Hello, welcome to The Project. Tonight we're joined by Dave Thornton and the Treasurer of Australia himself, Josh Frydenberg.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Well, here's what's making news this Friday, the 10th of May. Australian actress Yael Stone has been revealed as the mysterious witness X in the Geoffrey Rush defamation trial. Best known for her work in Orange is the New Black, the Hollywood star was called by the Daily Telegraph in its defence last year. And while today her identity was revealed, the evidence she intended to give remains suppressed. The Melbourne man, dubbed the Tinder rapist, has been sentenced to nearly 15 years behind bars. 44-year-old Glenn Hartland used the dating app to prey on women, becoming violent when they tried to break up with him. The sexual predator pleaded guilty to 3 counts of rape and 1 of sexual assault and will serve a minimum of 11 years.
The judge was excellent, and although it's a small justice for us, I think that it was a fair outcome and thankfully gives us a little closure to move forward now.
After 62 days inside, Chelsea Manning has been freed from a US prison. The former intelligence analyst and whistleblower was jailed for contempt after refusing to testify before an investigation into WikiLeaks. But her freedom may be short-lived. She's due to appear before a second grand jury in just 6 days. And how's this for a dream job? Online luxury retailer Hush Hush is looking for a professional yacht tester. To collect your 93 grand salary, you'll have to live on the luxury vessels, testing everything from beds to light sockets. It's perfect for someone with extreme attention to detail and probably someone who doesn't get seasick.
My God, what an elitist job, just testing out yachts. Like, I'm not one of those guys about border security, but they're the kind of boat people we don't need. All right?
Well, Dave, I have to tell you, I don't think it's hush hush. I think it would be more like rush rush. I mean, who wouldn't want a gig for 93 grand checking the lights? That's pretty good.
Come on, 93 grand. That's what, a quarter of what you get? No, but that's the bit that I don't get, right? Is like it's a luxury job, but you're not paid a luxury wage.
That's a pretty good wage.
I would be pretty happy with that wage.
No, but then once you stop getting the job, you're accustomed to living on luxury yachts, but you can't afford to do it anymore.
Yeah, no, it'd be pretty hard to move into a home after doing that.
Yeah, exactly. You see what I'm saying?
This is hard to talk about too. It's on international waters. You're not taxing them, Joshy boy? Now, mate, thank you so much, obviously, for being here on the desk. Really do appreciate it. I hope that you are comfortable here when you're sitting with us. Possibly, unlike your party, made you a little uncomfortable when you were sworn in as Deputy Leader last August. Because here you are, it's your big day. You're standing in the middle of it all, front and centre, as you should be, my friend.
Right.
And there, Gigi's walking out, Scott Morrison's there. We just get ourselves ready for the photo.
What's going on there, Josh?
He takes precedent. He takes precedent.
Wow. Hang on, try... No, can't...
Oh, the little fella was elbowed out.
We all know our place. Don't worry about that.
Fair enough.
Now, with 8 days until we hit the polls and the sausage sizzles, Labor's unveiled how it would fund its policies if it claims government, but Friday and his mates aren't buying it.
This campaign, the coalition's been hitting Labor hard on its economic credentials.
It's the bill Australia can't afford.
But today's release of costings suggests Labor can afford its promises and then some.
Bigger budget surpluses, more spending on health and education, fairer taxes. That's what a shortened Labor government will deliver.
Labor's forecasting 154 billion smackaroos in extra revenue over the next 10 years, thanks to its tax reform in some key areas: franking credits, negative gearing, tax havens and avoidance by multinationals, and super concessions. The extra money goes into Medicare, schools, infrastructure, climate action, and forklift driving lessons for Bill.
There are bigger investments in health and education, bigger budget surpluses, and we're ready for government.
And the big boast? Projections to more than double the surplus promised by the coalition by 2022.
That's the trifecta. Looking after the people on the fixed incomes and the wage earners of Australia, reversing the cuts to schools and hospitals, and a better surplus.
The PM suggested the numbers can't be trusted.
There's always something very fishy when it comes to Labor's claims about how to manage money.
But if numbers aren't your thing, there's just one question that needs answering. Has Labor got it right?
Well, by sheer coincidence, and it really is a coincidence, we have the Treasurer on the desk, but we're also now joined by the man who wants his job, Shadow Treasurer Chris Bowen. Chris, welcome to the show.
Good, Waleed.
Yeah.
Treasurer and panel member. I'll go for both.
Yeah, excellent. Oh, you want all of our jobs. That's all right. Fair enough. Actually, just
why not?
Sit tight, because I want to ask you, Josh, up front. Chris says his surplus is bigger than yours. Are you jealous?
Well, we're not increasing taxes to increase surpluses. We're doing it all without increasing taxes, and that's one of the big differences at the election.
All right, Chris, so is that a fair criticism, that ultimately you achieve this by taxing people unfairly or more than they should be taxed?
No, bigger budget surpluses under a Shorten Labor government, more money for health and education and fairer taxes. We're closing down and reforming tax loopholes which benefit high wealth individuals, $154 billion worth over the next decade. But 96% of Australians unaffected by our franking credit changes, 99% of Australians unaffected by our managing tax affairs changes, 98% unaffected by our trust changes, and 100% of people who currently negatively gear unaffected by our changes. We've got a two-class tax system in Australia. We'll make it fairer, but we'll fund health and education at the same time as getting bigger budget surpluses. Josh can't do that because the Liberals won't tackle those tax loopholes and concessions.
Oh, this is so exciting being in the middle.
I've got to take my right here, Chris, to ask you a question. Are you familiar with Stephen Hawking's theories of black holes? Because I was going to ask you, in the costings today, a few things were left out there. How are you going to square the promises to the public, but the fact that the funding wasn't in your announcement today?
Well, here's the thing, Josh. You get to announce Liberal Party policies. I know you don't do that very often because the Liberal Party doesn't have any policies at this election. But Bill and I announced Labor policies, and the Labor policies we've announced are in this document. ODA, foreign aid, is in the document. Humanitarian intake, refugees, is in the document. R&D, Josh, you might think that the only people who spend money on R&D is the federal government, but actually business spends money on R&D as well. Our costings have been through a rigorous process. Independent Parliamentary Budget Office, verified by 3 eminent Australians, expert in government finances, the most rigorous approach any opposition's ever taken, and announced the costings earlier than any opposition in history.
Chris,
you might not like the answer, mate, but that's the answer, Josh.
OK, Chris, let's change tack. It took the coalition 2 minutes to figure out that a New Start increase isn't in the costings. Why not?
As we always said, we've been very clear. There's a choice here. The Liberals say no increase in New Start ever, nothing to see here, no problem. We say we think there is a legitimate issue, but we're not making a commitment to increase it or increase it by a particular quantum. We're saying we'll review it. We'll have a thorough review, a good examination of it. We'll consider it from there. Just as Scott Morrison said the other day, he'd consider our cancer plan. I don't expect him to put that in the budget. He'd said he'd think about it and consider it. We've said there's a legitimate issue with New Start. Josh says there's no problem. New Start should stay as it is. We say it's low, there should be a review, but we're not making an election promise. The things that are in this document are what we're promising. Josh can make up Labor promises, just like he makes up Labor taxes, but these are Labor policies.
It's amazing you just happen to have that there. Did you find that?
I know.
It's just incredible.
I've been carrying it around all day. What do you know?
Now, Chris, we noticed Labor has $55 million set aside for a national vote on the Republic in 2021 to 22. Have you underestimated how excited we all are about baby Archie, mate?
Well, fair call. But look, we've got a pretty big agenda. We want to recognise our first people in the Constitution. That'll take a referendum. That's our #1 priority. We also think we can have the conversation about a republic. We'd have a two-stage process. But our first job is to finally recognise our First Nations people in the Constitution and give them a voice to Parliament. So that's our first job when it comes to the Constitution.
All right, Chris, thank you very much for your time tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Good on you.
Just before we go to a break quickly, we should give you a right to say one last thing in reply, if you have anything you want to add.
Oh, no, look, I mean, people like Chris and I, we actually get on well off the field, and I think when people really knew that their politicians were actually getting on well outside of the theatre of politics. I think that would probably give them a bit more confidence in our system.
Yeah. Interesting to see a bit more of that. Yeah.
Time for a short break. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
Coming up, there's cold hard cash on offer to anyone who reckons they can decipher what's engraved on this stone in France. Plus, why David Beckham's been banned from getting behind the wheel. You're watching The Project.
What's Miguel been cooking up this Mother's Day for Amanda?
I got a little surprise for you. Just stay here, okay?
She never expected this.
Happy Mother's Day!
A special surprise on The Living Room, 7:30 tonight on Win.
Some things in life you can't control, but you can control what you do next. By calling MEJ, we'll give you the advice and support you need to get the compensation you're entitled to.
If you've been injured in a motor vehicle accident, you or your family may need compensation. Don't delay. Call MEJ or visit mej.com.au.
Only the United Australia Party will grow our economy, bring back integrity to government, support local regions, actually provide strong economic leadership, creating jobs, jobs and more jobs. And only United Australia Party will put a stop to the great Australian sell-off and protect our country for our children's future. Vote 1 for the United Australia Party.
Authorised by Clive Palmer for the United Australia Party, Brisbane.
I love that Australia has these amazing extremes. Even the harshest places have these beautiful natural surfaces. And those matte surfaces, how they respond to light, the effect that creates, it's incredible to photograph. It's the same with Colorbond's steel matte. Strong, enduring, yet subtle in its beauty.
Struggling with all-day energy? Maybe you're low on vitamin B. Nature's Own Super B Complex is packed with all the B vitamins that support energy production and help your body convert food to energy for sustained energy throughout the day. Be energy smart with Nature's Own Super B Complex and be body smart with Nature's Own.
I would like a bar of chocolate, please. It's for my mom.
Your change.
Happy birthday, Mum.
There's a glass and a half in everyone.
Right now, Bridgestone Select's Monster Sale means huge savings on car and SUV tyres to suit every budget. For tyres and auto service you can count on, you're always in safe hands at your local Bridgestone Select.
I'm Steve Murphy, the real Steve Murphy from the hit Netflix series Narcos. When you watch the show, have you wondered, wow, is all that really true? Well, now you have the opportunity to find out what's true and what's fiction. For ticket information, go to the Live Nation website.
This program brought to you by Melligarnis Edwards Johnson.
Welcome back. Watching The Project.
The Sydney artist Tony Costa has taken out the Archibald Prize, pocketing a cool 100 grand. His expressionist portrait of Zen Buddhist and fellow artist Lindy Lee beat out 50 other finalists. Accepting his award, the artist said his mum's advice to follow his heart was the best he ever got.
It really is surreal. You know, I'm always on the lookout for miracles, but this is one hell of a miracle.
And a village in France is offering a prize of €2,000 to anyone who can decipher their Rosetta Stone. The mysterious 230-year-old inscription on this rock was first discovered a few years ago, but no one knows what it means. Since offering up the challenge, hundreds of would-be sleuths have already signed up for the case.
Yeah, so no one can read it. I reckon it was arguably the first late-night drunken text. Just someone with a chisel going, this would be fun.
Christine on Facebook's got the answer. She's worked it out. Please do not carve in this rock.
It's an excellent thing.
Oh, how about new rock? Who dis?
Very good.
Let's take a look at what's happening in the world of entertainment.
Big news for all the Fan Hathaways, that's fans of Anne Hathaway, out there. The Oscar-winning actress has finally been given a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The 36-year-old had hubby Adam Schulman and gal pal and Hustle co-star Rebel Wilson by her side as she was honoured with the accolade.
So much of success is due to the people who believe in you.
Anne's now star number 2,663 on the famous LA landmark. While Anne was all smiles, David Beckham was a bit more sullen after a London magistrate handed down a 6-month driving ban. Football's bad boy was caught using his phone while behind the wheel of his Bentley. Becks copped a $1,300 fine for the offence and pleaded guilty despite saying he had no recollection of the incident. And our Eurovision queen, Kate Miller-Heidke, was sounding pitch perfect in her second rehearsal for the upcoming comp. The gravity-defying star has emerged as an early favourite to take the Eurovision title in Tel Aviv next weekend.
Wow, well, any competition that's been won by ABBA and Celine Dion must be worth watching, even though the election's also on that night.
Yeah.
So that's the more important vote, yeah?
I think more people will be watching that one, I think, for sure.
Might be right.
You'd rather be at home watching Eurovision, I reckon, wouldn't you?
Probably with some popcorn or something like that.
Why do you know so much about who won Eurovision? Like, is there...
It's a family favourite. Heaps of people come over and watch it, and obviously 600 million people around the world watch it. It's even more than a project, I think.
Not quite.
Yeah, depends on the night. You're on tonight, so there would be more sleep.
Please thank Josh Frydenberg for his final appearance.
Hey, we'll be back with lots more project after this short break.
Coming up, we sift through the vastly different futures the major parties are promising Aussies should they win the election. Plus the op shop with a sales pitch that's picture perfect. You're watching The Project.
The queen of home cooking is here.
NIGELLA'S.
I'm not a cruel person. I'm all about pleasure.
It just feels good.
Pleasure, pleasure, pleasure. Are you ready? Beautiful. It actually looks like something from a fairy tale. If I had to choose my last meal on earth, this would be it. Roast chicken.
She'll take them from food heaven
Very naughty.
to food hell.
This challenge was the hardest one I've ever seen.
Nigella Week starts 7:30 Sunday on Win.
Running a small business can be tough, but getting it online with GoDaddy is easy. Introducing my new fragrance. Fragrance #1. It's a new business I launched online with GoDaddy Website Builder. GoDaddy make it so easy to build a website, even an old bloke like me did it. So come on, Australia, get a website with GoDaddy. It's flaming easy.
Today's help? Are we there yet cover? Get free roadside assistance with any new NRMA comprehensive car insurance policy. Call us on 13NRMA.
Trade and save now at Domain. Need a new bed? Don't want your old one? Trade it in and save up to a massive 55% off your new mattress or ensemble. Plus, we'll give you bonus delivery and remove your old mattress. Choose from Domain's amazing range of top bedding brands, including Sealy, Tempur, King Coil and Sleepmaker. Up to 55% off your new mattress when you trade in the old. Plus, bonus local delivery and removal. Don't miss out with 50 months interest free. Limited time at Domain.
Oh, what do you know, guys? This is Ainsley from our studio audience, and she's here to tell us what's coming up.
Coming up, one Aussie bloke's inspiring dream to conquer Everest.
you think rates are high now, just wait. Labor will tax your rent. Labor will tax your home. Labor will tax your retirement. What's next? Rates were just the beginning. Labor will tax you to death.
Authorised by A. Potter, Liberal Party of Australia, ACT Division, Canberra.
Imagine yourself behind the wheel of a real truck. The new Ram 1500 pickup truck. With a powerful V8 Hemi engine and up to 4.5 tonne towing. The new Ram 1500 pickup truck eats utes for breakfast.
Welcome to our Lipton Tea Factory, where the sun soaks the leaves with 4,000 hours of sunshine before we pick them at the peak of freshness for a rich natural taste and aroma in every cup of Lipton.
At the NIGELLA'S Lounge Sale, up to 50% off selected items and discontinued lines. Save up to 50% off lounges. The NIGELLA'S Lounge Sale. On now.
Are you collecting Woolworths Earn and Learn stickers? Then keep an eye out for special bonus sticker offers, like 2 bonus stickers when you buy Valia or Continental products. So come on, let's stick together, Australia.
That's why I pick Woolies.
With a strong economy, we will deliver on our plan, including 1.25 million new jobs, maintaining surpluses and paying down debt, tax relief for millions of families and small businesses to help you get ahead, record funding for schools, hospitals and roads. There's more to do, and now is not the time to turn back. We're getting on with the job, building our economy, securing your future.
Authorised by A. Hurst, Liberal Party of Australia, Canberra.
Back, what's the project?
One makeup artist's liptastic creations are going viral. Ryan Kelly's art is taking the internet by storm as she paints movies, motives and moments onto her lips. The detail in the pop culture pouts has left many asking if there's more to it than just a brush and some paint. Oh my, they're awesome.
Incredible. Pretty awesome. I love that hungry caterpillar there. That was pretty cool.
It's a little odd though, because it's almost like you got that, like, we can just put something there to distract from your actual face.
The thing I wonder is, if she started talking, would it be really off-putting? Would it be like, but now the picture's stuffed up. Can you put it back together, please?
It'd make everyone feel a little simple, because you're just looking at a person's mouth like
the whole time.
You're not the full quota.
A cold sore though.
That's... Wow, it's a very elaborate way of doing that, but sure.
Very distracting.
Natural thinking.
Natural thinking. Hey, sales have been soaring at a Melbourne Salvo's op shop thanks to a novel marketing strategy. Staff have been using some celeb star power to spice up the store with glamour shots of Keanu Reeves in second-hand picture frames scattered all over the place. And people are really buying it.
Well, the creative mastermind and store manager Simon Austin joins us now. Simon, there are a lot of celebrities in the world. Why Keanu?
Oh, Keanu. There's so many reasons for Keanu. One, he's been suggested more than any other celebrity. And, you know, he's a great guy. He gives a lot of his income to charity.
G'day, Simon. Nice to see you. Who's been your most popular celebrity? Other than Waleed, of course.
That's funny you should say that, because Waleed has actually been suggested a few times. Not to make the rest of you jealous, but we nearly picked Waleed.
Right.
Yeah.
Take us through who's been the most popular celebs in the op shop.
Right here, Jeff Goldblum. He went a bit crazy a few months ago, and yeah, he actually retweeted it. So it's just a pity no one knew it was actually in Melbourne. They thought it was in the UK.
Any politicians been popular?
We did put Jacinda Ardern in. She's up here. But no, a lot of customers loved her, but no one really posted about her, unfortunately.
Good to hear you're doing well, Simon. Thank you very much for speaking to us.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
I mean, of course it does make sense. I mean, rather than just having a creepy photo of people you don't know, you know, at least you could put some photos in there of some people you do recognise, much like the photo we have here of a very young Josh Frydenberg.
Zoom in on
If we can zoom in on it, the six-pack, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
Jeez, you're
now I just eat for a living, Dave, I can tell you that.
Look at the head of hair, too.
Look at that. That is Baywatch, my friend.
Oh, God.
What a dreamboat.
Didn't know we were going to pull that out, did you, Josh Frydenberg?
You've actually gone red, haven't you?
I wish I could do Photoshop now, I think, you know.
Well, you're crunching the numbers now for the country. Back then, you were just crunching the numbers with the ladies. Check it out. 6 of them, guys. There we go. You know, guys...
It's amazing you found that.
It's amazing, isn't it? That was my personal collection.
I know. Finally, it came in handy.
I'm going to get it signed afterwards. It's going to be crazy. Now, guys, I've done some live crosses in my time. No doubt you guys have as broadcasters and politicians. And, you know, when you're there, you've just got to roll with the punches. Or, as was the case with this pitch reporter at Arsenal's win over Valencia in the Europa League semi-final, you've got to roll with the headers.
En esta competición, en la Europa League, hay mucha ilusión. Saben que hoy es un día especial,
On the
muy
pitch,
especial. En este...
delivering a...
Is she okay?
She is okay. She is okay. She later tweeted this pic of her with the ball that hit her.
What a good sport.
Okay. A few Panadols couldn't fix it.
No. You don't want to revel in anyone's suffering, of course, but let's watch it again.
Especial, muy especial. En este...
I know, it's pretty full on. I'm so sorry for everyone watching. I hope this makes you feel better.
That's what's doing a coming back soon.
You literally got me to start living my life to the fullest.
Zac Efron opens up in a very revealing episode.
I did know that the more his shirt was off in the film, the more money I would make.
Brand new Graham Norton, 8:30 tonight on Win.
Scott Morrison's Liberals have spent years in chaos. Now they've done a deal with Clive Palmer.
Do you think I'm going to worry about anybody else? I couldn't give a stuff.
What would you say to Scott Morrison about making the chaos worse?
Yeah, good on you. Thanks, ScoMo.
Authorised by Ian Carroll, Australian Labor Party, Canberra.
Imagine yourself behind the wheel of a real truck. The new Ram 1500 pickup truck. With a powerful V8 Hemi engine and up to 4.5-ton towing. The new Ram 1500 pickup truck eats utes for breakfast.
Go now, make someone happy, make someone smile. Let's all stick together.
Woolworths Earn and Learn is on again. Together, we can help local schools get the valuable equipment they need to help develop the great minds of tomorrow. Every time you shop at Woolworths, you'll earn 1 sticker for every $10 spent. So let's stick together, Australia, and turn stickers into new equipment for local schools.
That's why I pick Woolies.
There are 2 ways to choose a new 7-seat 4-wheel drive. Old thinking, buy what you've always bought. New thinking, buy one on merit, like the Haval H9. Old, pay a lot more for premium features. New, autonomous emergency braking, heated massaging seats, and more for your money. Old, low price means less quality. New, German engineering, Swedish safety tech, and European design. Haval H9, new car thinking from $41,990.
The succulent 100% Aussie bred Wagyu beef burger is back at Macca's with crispy bacon, caramelised onions and tangy signature sauce. Wagyu's back at Macca's. Grab yours before it's gone.
Find the perfect gift for mum at Harvey Norman. Kitchen Inspo for creative cooks. Indulge her with breakfast in bed. Fashionable and fit, living her best life. Setting the trend with the latest technology. Looking good with some solid me time. Snuggled up in the comforts of home. Capture the moment and cherish the memories. Bring your favourite photo in store and get a free 8x10 print for mum. Plus a personalised card for free. This Mother's Day, only at Harvey Norman.
It's amazing how powerful a piece of paper can be on election day. Your vote will help shape Australia. So it's important that you understand how to make it count. On election day, you'll receive 2 ballot papers, a green one for the House of Representatives and a large white one for the Senate. On the green ballot paper, you put a 1 in the box beside the candidate who is your first choice, then a 2 in the box beside your second choice, and so on until you've numbered every box. On the white Senate ballot paper, you need to put a 1 in the box above the line for the party or group that is your first choice, then a 2 in the box for your second choice, and so on until you've numbered at least 6 boxes. Or you can choose to vote below the line by numbering at least 12 boxes for individual candidates in order of your choice. To learn more, visit aec.gov.au or call 132326. Authorised by the Electoral Commission of Canberra.
It's the one room in the house no one wants to go into. The spare room.
Do not go in there under any circumstance.
Check out how the king of clutter transforms a single mum's life.
Oh my God, it's amazing!
The living room, next on When.
For the American watching The Project, it's a special edition because we have a special guest, Treasurer Josh Frydenberg.
And if you have just joined us, here's what's making news this Friday, the 10th of May. And Josh, you'll be right across this one with just 8 days until Australians go to the polls. Labor has released its full costings, promising bigger surpluses sooner than the government. Shadow Treasurer Chris Bowen outlined budget savings of $154 billion over the next decade.
We've done the hard work. We've got the more responsible set of books. We have bigger investments in health and education, bigger budget surpluses, and we're ready for government.
Coalition, meanwhile, has pledged to reduce power prices by 25%, which it says could save the average household up to $185 a year.
Guys, Chris Bowen, as you just heard, he has a plan for the economy. And as you can see from his budget presentation, it's easy to tell where maybe he thinks he can save some money.
We will also have bigger budget surpluses over the decade, cumulatively.
Oh no.
And each and every year. Just give that 1 second.
Mate, use a PowerPoint. What is going on?
Where's the HB pencil, I reckon?
No.
That's a tactic.
It was a great budget for 1986.
Well, NRL star Dylan Walker has been found not guilty of assaulting his fiancée by pulling her to the ground by her ponytail while carrying a baby. The court heard Walker was playing PlayStation when his partner asked if he'd like a fork or spoon for his dinner, allegedly sparking the argument. The Manly Sea Eagles centre was stood down by the league on their no-fault policy, and the NRL says it'll now review his case.
We'll just simply assess the case file and make a quick decision for Manly.
The fiancé of Justine Ruszczyk-Damond, who was shot and killed by a police officer in Minneapolis, has given his first interview since Mohammed Noor's trial. Don Damond says he wants to see change across the entire police force, not just in Minnesota, but in all across the United States.
How can what was learned here be taken to change and address policing in this country? There needs to be the changes made so that no one has to go through this, that no one ever has to experience what we experienced.
And Philippines President Rodrigo Duterte had an unwelcome visitor during a recent campaign rally. A giant cockroach crawled up his arm before an aide rushed to brush it off. While Duterte was unfazed and swatted the pest away, the moment has since gone viral.
It's like he's found the one species he can't just go out and execute.
Oh, right. Well, there are a few cockroaches in Parliament, but, you know, the Mortine is always there at the hand.
Oh, yeah? Would you care to name them?
No, I'd like to keep my job, I think. You know.
Right. Well, they are disgusting creatures, aren't they? Ugh, and it had a cockroach on it. As we saw then...
Sorry, and you awed at me.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. There is a double standard there that I'm happy to stand by.
Don't go to the Philippines anytime soon.
No, I'm not going to. Do you know something I don't? Anyway, we just saw then the Philippines president, obviously, and it's always hard as a politician, you would know this, Josh, and someone hands you an animal or something and you think, OK, the cameras are on me, I've got to deal with this. And it must be difficult in that moment. But enough sympathy I've probably thrown your way. Let's have a laugh at you dealing with snakes and wombats.
Whoa! Across the... Whoa! 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 Whoa!
I love all your
words there. Yeah.
All your noises.
Do you, in those moments, find yourself thinking, why the hell have they put me in this position? Like, I wish that I didn't have to do this.
No, I mean, I think that's a fun part of the job, doing those sort of things, but you just don't want to be caught out with a snake bite or something like that, you know? Yeah. Something could easily go wrong.
You don't like rats?
I don't like rats, that's right.
So you wouldn't cope well with a rat flying up your arm?
I think that will be one I'd pass on.
Yeah, well, thankfully voters don't like rats either, so it's unlikely you'll have to cuddle one at some point. You're fine. Now, overnight, another couple of candidates have bitten the dust over stupid and offensive comments. In a week, just riddled with more scandals and low blows, even an attempted prime ministerial egging. But the thing is, all of that's actually kind of irrelevant.
The Liberal candidate in the Victorian seat of Scullin quitting over a social media post about rape in marriage. Today,
as far as election campaigns go, this one has been long, it's been dirty, and it's been super noisy.
Is accusing the coalition of
the Prime Minister dominated the election today. It was government
with an egg today.
But what if we hit pause for just a moment? Because despite the media focus on the drama, and we've brought you plenty, this election isn't about anyone's late mum or prime ministerial eggings or candidates with sordid social media histories. It's not even about Bill Shorten's positively mesmerising running style. Few elections have offered such divergent paths for Australia as this one.
The choice is as clear as day and night. A vote for Labor is for better hospitals. A vote for the current mob is a vote for more tax cuts for multinationals.
It's a choice between a government that I lead and the alternative of a Labor government led by Bill Shorten.
And despite what Scott Morrison would have you believe, it's not a choice between two blokes. It's a choice between two parties, two sets of policies, two visions for the country. Two different doors holding two very different futures. So let's take a look behind door number one. The coalition's all about...
Only a strong economy can guarantee into the future. A stronger economy, a stronger economy. Strong economy.
But what would door number one actually mean for your hip pocket? The coalition is offering $158 billion worth of income tax cuts over 10 years. That means more cash for 10 million Aussies, including 4.5 million middle income earners. There'll be no changes to negative gearing or capital gains tax. And self-funded retirees? They'll continue to score special cash payments on shares that most countries ban.
We're simply making sure that they get the full value of that franking credit, regardless of what their marginal tax rate is.
It's a typical Liberal approach, believing that cutting taxes is the best way to grow an economy and that taxing the wealthy too much punishes hard work. Ultimately, the coalition wants to flatten out our tax system really significantly so high-income earners don't bear as much of the burden. But what about these guys? What does door number one mean for the future of our planet? The coalition has a $3.5 billion climate solutions package, which includes expansion of Turnbull's Snowy Hydro scheme and a $2 billion climate solutions fund, which is rolled out over 15 years and which experts say might not deliver much in the way of reduced emissions anyway.
It's really warm.
The coalition says this will help us hit our current emissions reduction target of at least 26% by 2030. It's a balance between doing what's needed to meet our global agreements on climate change, but no more, for fear of what it would cost the economy. But still, the coalition reckon they'll hit the climate target.
In a canter, we're going to meet those in a canter.
Speaking of cantering... Let's take a look behind door number two. Labor is looking to shake things up a lot, cracking down on a bunch of tax concessions like negative gearing and capital gains tax, which leaves money to pay for big spending on things like health and social services.
We're going to use $250 million to invest in better care in our hospitals. Labor's going to make healthcare a key choice in this election.
But what does door number two mean for your hip pocket? Labor has trumped the coalition when it comes to our lowest paid workers, offering around $1 billion in increased tax cuts for the nearly 4 million Aussies earning less than 48 grand. But Labor won't do the same for high-income earners, rejecting the coalition's plans to remove the top tax bracket, which would slash their tax rate to 30%.
This is the problem of Australia in 2019. The benefits of hard work are not being equally spread.
And as for the future of our planet, Bill Shorten's mob want to push things much further, aiming to make 50% of our energy renewable by 2030, getting industry to make big carbon cuts via some rehashed version of the National Energy Guarantee, and pushing for 50% of our cars to be electric by 2030. But the big difference? Labor wants to up Australia's 2030 carbon emissions reduction target to 45%, more ambitious targets, although critics would say it's a little light on policy detail.
But see, we understand that if we don't invest in renewables now, someone else will get the jobs, someone else will get the technology. Climate change is a gigantic problem.
All this is just the tip of the now melting iceberg. There are endless policies we could have dug into and compared, but the point is, this time around there are significant differences on issues that really matter. Labor is selling a huge idea that the economy doesn't work for ordinary people anymore, that its benefits trickle upwards to the elite, and that it needs to be made fair for the rest. That's why it's been prepared to take on things that were once taboo, like negative gearing. It's why the tax concessions it wants to reduce tend to be the ones that wealthier people tend to get, and it's why the services it wants to expand tend to be accessed by those earning less. The Coalition is defending the ideas that we've lived with for decades, that a growing economy is fundamentally important, that its benefits trickle down to everybody. That's why it's so happy to give tax cuts to the wealthy and to business. It believes that giving money back to these people makes everyone wealthier in the long run. And it doesn't think that this should be sacrificed in the name of action on climate change. Look, I know it's been popular for years now to be cynical about politics, to say that it has no real ideas and that the major parties are the same. But that's just not true this time. This time, the differences are real. The choice is significant. These two doors lead to very different places. It's time to start paying attention. Joining us with us now is Barry Cassidy.
You've been covering elections since 1980.
That's right.
Is this the biggest contrast you've ever seen between parties?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. You wouldn't have been able to put together a package like that in more recent elections. People have complained all the way back to Hawke and Howard that there's no difference between the major parties. You know, why should I bother? I can't make up my mind. There is a clear difference this time around. Both sides say it. Both sides say it's a clear choice.
But they always say that.
Yeah, so this time they're both right.
Sure, yeah.
Perhaps the one that stand out before this was in 1993 when John Hewson, from opposition, attempted to introduce a GST. I mean, that really concentrates the mind. Yeah. But apart from that, yeah, absolutely, this is the standout. Yeah.
Barry, what's more frustrating, interviewing politicians or barracking for Collingwood?
Collingwood and Carlton, your
That's
side.
Right. Looking forward to it this weekend.
My daughter's a Collingwood supporter, right? And she...
shame on you, yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't have the rivalry that we understand, you know, going back all those years. She's starting to feel sorry for Carlton. I think the last thing you want as a Carlton supporter is for Collingwood supporters to start feeling sorry for you.
I like how we've spoken
Where
about
are you at when that happens?
How weighty this election is. Suddenly we're talking footy. I don't know how that happened. Do you have a question you'd like to ask, John?
Well, actually, your oldest is about 4?
Correct.
4. I just wonder what you say to her as you turn every corner.
Yeah.
Anywhere within reach of your neighbourhood and you see your mug on a billboard somewhere. They're everywhere. How do you explain that?
Well, it's funny because my wife, when I first ran for politics back in 2010, she went to work one day and one of her workmates said to her, "I see your husband's photo everywhere I go. Is he a real estate agent?" No, he's actually a politician.
Just looks like one.
But I think all sides, Barry, are doing that. And, you know, modern campaigning is very different today with new technology. Gone are the days where you'd send the same piece of mail to everyone in the electorate. It's a lot more organised and a lot more targeted and a lot more social media friendly.
But you've got a tough fight this time. Why is that? Why is it tougher this time in your seat?
Well, I think Victoria has changed in the political landscape a bit after the state election. But also I think nationally there is no such thing as a safe seat, and I don't take mine for granted.
And climate change?
And look, climate change is a big issue. The environment's a big issue, and we're focused on dealing with it, meeting our international commitments and investing significant money to do so.
OK, Friday, I've got a question about... there's a big push for you guys to say, vote us because the economy model is trickle down, and if we can make sure that these guys at the top get more money, it'll go down to the workers. But the average Australian and the ordinary Australian, that's not happening, and that model seems to be not working anymore.
Well, Georgie, I wouldn't say it's trickled down because that's actually the words that our political opponents use. What I would say is we're focused on creating jobs, and we've been pretty successful in doing that with 1.3 million new jobs, and more than 100,000 young people have got a job over the last year, which is the highest number on record. So actually, when you back small business, when you back families, when you try to create jobs with more infrastructure, then you actually get a stronger economy. That's what we're focused on, and everything that we do with our promises on health and in hospitals and drugs on the PBS can only be possible with a strong economy. So it's not an either-or, strong economy or services. It's actually a strong economy to deliver the services that you need.
You've run the same argument on wages. So you've said that just back in the system and eventually, because of that mechanism, wages will go up, but they just haven't. So why do you think people listening to you should believe that what they haven't seen happen over 6 years is suddenly going to start happening?
Well, you can only take the advice of the Reserve Bank Governor, and he is independent, and he says that wages are starting to rise across all industries and across all states and faster than they were a year ago. But with our productivity agenda, that's the infrastructure, that's the apprenticeships, that's the tax cuts, we will see wages go up.
It's taken a long time. It's taken a long time. They've been stagnant for a long time now, and companies have been making pretty healthy profits.
Well, not so much in the non-mining sector. In the mining sector they have, but the mining sector is very volatile. Now they're doing well because commodity prices are strong. Hasn't always been the case.
Now, Barry, since you're here, this is my audition to become a heavy-hitting political reporter.
OK.
I'm going to throw one at Josh. You can scar me after this one. Josh, good to have you here.
You're already harder than Barry.
In 3 weeks, will you be the Leader of the Opposition?
Look, I'm hoping to be the Treasurer, and the goal is Scott Morrison to be re-elected as Prime Minister.
Did I do all right?
There should have been a follow-up.
I hope Carlton loses.
Can you please thank Barry Cassidy for joining us?
After a break, lots of still to come.
Coming up, 39 years ago, Bobby Bajram was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And whilst that was a challenge in itself, his latest quest is both frightening and inspiring.
It's you versus the mountain, although the mountain hasn't got any feeling, and I have.
And from underbelly to offspring, Kat Stewart has cemented herself as one of the country's favourite actors. She joins us live to chat about her latest venture. This is The Project.
It's election time, and while the politicians are doing their rounds, Win News will be looking at all the election issues, delivering the big picture from a local perspective, shedding new light on what's happening in this election and beyond. Win News, the local angle on the federal election, every weeknight at 6.
Labor's higher taxes will impact everyone. Retirees, housing, families and more. And who will pick up the bill from Labor's spending spree? A generation of young Australians. Labor, it's the bill Australia can't afford.
Authorised by Ahurst, Liberal Party of Australia, Canberra.
A Lindor moment makes life feel so sublime. Smooth, melting Lindor. From the Lindt Master Chocolatier. Melt into a moment of bliss. From Lindt.
At Apia, we're all about possibilities and making sure you're ready for them. Because you've got things to do and places to be. But if you're driving less because you're living more, we offer comprehensive motor insurance that rewards you with our Drive Less, Pay Less discount. Apia. Get set, go. Call 13 50 50.
Need a quick pick-me-up? Jump to it with Aussie apples. They're the ultimate healthy, crunchy, convenient, one-hand snack. Get your crunch on with Aussie apples.
Harvey Norman Super Saturday. Up to 20% off a huge range of Intel computers. Samsung King Size 75-inch Smart TV, 2495 plus bonus delivery and wall mount installation. New Nespresso capsule coffee machine, only $299 plus a triple treat of bonuses. Up to 40% off selected furniture. Look for the in-stock logo and save. Up to 50% off selected mattresses, ensembles and Manchester plus bonus local delivery. Form Jersey heated towel rail, only $97 plus a super $99 entire home carpet installation offer. Super Saturday at Harvey Norman.
Go!
Life doesn't always go according to plan. Mental health or drug and alcohol concerns can happen to anyone. If you or someone you know needs support, reach out. Talk to someone you can trust, including your doctor. Visit reachoutanytime.info for information, resources and help. Or call Lifeline 13 11 14. Dial 000 in an emergency. Reach out anytime.
It's time to wake up to sleep. Right now at 40 Winks, get any size mattress for the price of a single. That's a queen, king, or even a super king mattress for the price of a single. Hurry, it's for a limited time only. 40 Winks, serious about sleep.
For unrivaled live coverage in 2019, Sky News on Win, Australia's election channel.
Coming up next on Win, The Living Room. Later, The Graham Norton Show.
Welcome back. What's the project?
Well, there's a bloke who left Australia today on a quest to conquer the world's highest mountain. But what he's done to make it this far already will inspire you, and our own Luke McGregor met him.
Life threw Bobby Badgeram a huge curveball 39 years ago when he was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis at the age of 13.
Whether I'm good or bad, I come anyway.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. There's always something where my sight or my body's frozen.
Despite that, he's training up to 25 hours a week to tackle the world's highest peak, Mount Everest.
It's you versus the mountain, although the mountain hasn't got any feeling, and I have.
No, I'm sure it appreciates...
Mate, sometimes I say to the mountain, don't stare at me because I'll bill you for perving, mountain.
Oh, come on!
It's a great training venue for the extreme, of me tackling the extreme elements.
So do you want me to throw bags of ice at you or something? Will that help?
Yeah, if you can throw some bags of ice and some helmets at me and some snowballs.
We'll open up the roof as well.
Yeah, do that.
Bobby suggested I join him, but conditions sound pretty harsh.
Hang on for your life, Luke.
There's no Uber Eats up there either.
No Uber Eats up there.
Right.
It's exhausting, isn't it?
It's really tough. Are you tied to it if...
You're hooked up. I mean, now we're not, so if we fall, we're done.
That's okay, I've had a pretty good run.
Yeah, no, you've been great.
Bobby's throwing everything at his Everest climb. His MS can get in the way sometimes, but he believes the key is to just keep getting back up.
Are you right? Mate, I fall on that mountain, and every time I fall, get a little bit higher.
Yeah.
Now, you've got to suck it up, and off you go, mate. And I want to do it for people with disabilities and our carers.
Come on, let's go.
So our carers, they really need that big pat on the back to say, thank you. Thank you for your work. I'll get here and I'll get there and I'll go up and down.
Okay.
And then you follow me.
Yeah, sure.
So, I mean, if
I get a phone call, they'll have to run off. We'll edit in some superhero sounds. Really scary. Bobby has his good and bad days. For about 4 months of the year, he depends on a cane or even a wheelchair to get around. But whenever he's well enough, he's training for his next mountain climbing adventure. He's already made 3 trips to the Himalayas. Everest, however, sounds really, really hard.
The wind chill, it's over 100 kilometres, it's battering, it's hurricane strength.
100 kilometres?
100 Ks, yeah, it's just crazy.
I hope it's coming up behind you then as you're climbing.
Yeah, no, that'd be handy, but it comes down on you.
That's not good.
No, it's not good. No.
Bobby's condition means he'll need a team of 20 leaders, guides and medical specialists to take on Everest, and the support of sponsors to help pay for it. Before that, he'll climb 3 big Himalayan peaks to acclimatise. His daughter Annie is confident he can do it.
Excited, definitely excited. A little scared. Never know what can happen in the mountains.
My doctors have said to me, if there's a slight problem, if a little bit of a limp or something, it's over. I'm done.
Because the climb down is also extremely hard, isn't it? It's not like you get to the top and then it's like there's a slide or anything.
No, it's worse. They tell you to wear these, and you put them over your mouth.
Right.
Because when you walk in and you're breathing, your tongue gets sunburned.
Your tongue gets sunburned?
Your tongue gets sunburned. You know, at times it's sunny.
I don't want to get mulchicks on my tongue. No. Oh, my God.
All the planets have to align for me. That's why we have all the procedures in place. To stop anything bad happening.
Bobby's been hospitalised nearly 300 times. His condition is slowly worsening and his health is a day-to-day proposition. But he's really hard to keep up with. Well, I did it so you and I look really good.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
You've got to sort of jump.
Sort of jump?
Yeah, jump.
And is there anything else you wanted to do today, Bobby?
Yeah, we can finish off with the flying fox.
Oh my God!
If Bobby falls, he simply picks himself up and tries again. And making the most of every moment might just literally take him to the top.
The only amount of TV you should be watching is the project, and the rest you don't watch, and use that time to go out.
I've been watching a little bit of Game of Thrones as well.
All right, well, I don't know what that is, but why not get out there and kick some ass or kick some butt? I don't know if I can say that.
I'll say it as well, just to be safe. Ass.
yeah. So I mean, you don't have to go up and down Mount Everest or up and down these big mountains. What you can do is do what you want to do. But just do it.
Yeah.
You know, just have a crack.
Amazing. What an inspiration. Yeah, no, a few weeks ago I had the opportunity to meet Bobby, and he's just so cheery, so confident, and really looking forward to this challenge.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. And if you'd like to help support Bobby's efforts to reach Everest, you'll find all the links on our website.
All right, time for us to go to a break. We'll be back very soon.
If you want to catch up on anything you missed, head to our website or hit us up on Facebook, where you can check out our exclusive online content, The Side Project, for the latest take on our Polly's approach to climate change.
Weirdly, not dying horribly is important to people, which is why climate change is our top concern.
Which is odd, because you don't seem to be doing anything about this report.
Or the last report. Or this one, or this one, or this one.
So it's time to try something more persuasive than the threat of utter annihilation.
And what do politicians love more than dry humping a coal mine? A bloody good war.
War on terror, war on drugs, war on crime, you know, all the war.
So we need politicians to step up and get behind the war on everyone being dead.
This is The Project.
It's the one room in the house no one wants to go into. The spare room.
Do not go in there under any circumstance.
Check out how the king of clutter transforms a single mum's life.
Oh my God, it's amazing!
The living room. Next on When.
Behind every great Mitsubishi SUV is an even greater deal. The Mitsubishi end of financial year sale is on now, and it's the perfect time to grab your own Freedom Machine. Equipped with the very latest MyTech safety and connectivity, there are awesome deals across the entire SUV range. So hurry into Mitsubishi, because the time of your life starts now.
My sister has thick black hair, but mine's curly and blonde.
My grandmother had olive skin, but I'm as pale as they come.
Mum has brown eyes, but mine are baby blue.
No one in my family had breast cancer. Not one. But I start chemo next week.
9 out of 10 women diagnosed with breast cancer don't have a family history. If you're aged 50 to 74, book your free breast screen today. Call 13 20 50.
Marry me?
Yes.
Hey.
Dad, I need you to plan the wedding. The whole wedding.
Weddings change people, not just the bride and groom.
In cinemas now. At Nick Scali, the 100% leather Bowery, now $29.90. 2.5-seater with chaise, $29.90. The Nick Scali Lounge Sale, on now.
Some things are good to have, but better when they're gone. Like training wheels and home loans. Nothing's nicer than being free of those.
The Audi Centre Canberra sale event is now on. Visit us today to receive 5 years free scheduled servicing across a huge range of new and demonstrator Audi models. This offer is exclusive to Audi Centre Canberra for a limited time only.
For 3 years, Scott Morrison and the Liberals tried to give an $80 billion tax handout to multinationals and the banks.
Pursuing our enterprise tax plan. Nothing's changed on that. We remain committed to this. See, we don't flip and flop around these things.
While cutting $14 billion from schools and $700 million from hospitals. They couldn't give $80 billion to the top end of town because the Senate blocked it. Just.
We don't flip and flop around these things.
Don't risk Scott Morrison and the Liberals giving $80 billion to the top end of town. Authorised by NCarroll, Australian Labor Party, Canberra.
This program brought to you by Meligarnis Edwards Johnson.
project.
Well, the writers of Offspring have a new drama for us to obsess over, and it all starts at the dreaded singles table at a wedding.
The five of you could chip in, buy a house together, and you'd have more buying power than a married couple times 2. So... Remind me why we're doing this again? What have I done?
I knew it was going to change me, moving into this place.
I'm bankrupt and I'm divorced. I'm so ashamed.
There's no shame here.
I've been in love with you the entire time.
What?
Please welcome Cat Stewart. Congrats on the new show called 5 Bedrooms. Now, we just saw you quite upset and crying.
Quite drunk, quite upset.
Why
yes.
are you crying?
It's not always like that. I don't want to give too much away, but she's got a fair bit going on under the surface. She's a very successful lawyer, but yeah, things aren't as they seem. Yeah,
oh, I see.
Yeah.
Right. It looks like a wonderful show. It looks very enjoyable. It's quite sunny. It has pathos. It has everything. But let's get down to it. Is this really just real estate agent propaganda to get people into the property market?
Well, this was inspired by articles that the writers read about this situation happening with people, you know, pitching in and buying real estate together. And, you know, it actually makes a lot of sense, I think.
Now, Kat, you know we're on the eve of an election and one side of politics is promising to lift capital gains tax by 50%, change negative gearing. If that policy came in, how much smaller would your 5-bedroom house be?
Wow. I'm sorry about him.
Just ignore him, Kat.
We're going to try to move through this. No, but honestly, from your point, I agree with you. When I saw the premise for the show, I was like, actually, that makes heaps of sense. Trying to live in a city, it costs so much money. If I got together with my mates, we could all be living together. But have you workshopped this with the actual cast in real life? Have you thought, can I live with these people in a house?
We spent a lot of time together, and I must say we're pretty tight. Like, I'm pining for them. I haven't worked with them for 4 weeks. But yeah, I think it's a huge risk, though, of course, because you can share a house, but buying real estate's like having a baby. You really, you know, they're really kind of knitted together, and so it's kind of high stakes for these guys. If things don't go well, it's tricky.
Because it's not just having a share house like when you're renting.
No,
you're all in with a major investment.
Legally, financially, yeah.
Yeah, it's like being married without actually being married.
Yeah.
And who chips in for stamp duty? There's so many questions.
Lots of questions.
Now, Kat, if people are tight for time, what would you recommend? To see your new TV show or see your new play?
See the play, tape the show.
You got skewered there, didn't you?
That's good.
Can we talk about your play?
Yes.
Because, I love this. It's written by Simon Stevens.
Yes.
Who wrote The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, which I was privileged to see, and it might be the best play I've ever seen. It was extraordinary. I haven't seen this play. It's called Heisenberg.
Yes.
Which I assume is about physics or something.
It's inspired by the idea. Heisenberg sounds pretty dry, but it's not. The uncertainty principle.
Yeah.
So it's the idea basically that in life we think we know, we think we can control things, but we can't. That idea that nothing is certain. So that's what I love about the play. And he's such a great writer, is you genuinely don't know what's going to happen moment to moment.
Yeah.
And it's these two. Basically, the setup is my character finds a much older man sitting on his own at a train station, kisses him on the back of the neck.
Oh, just
as you do.
Yeah, who doesn't?
And thinks that it says that she thinks that's her husband, and they just start talking, and this sort of unlikely romance kind of evolves. But it's really strange and beautiful. I love it. It's a beautiful play.
Oh, wow, that sounds really incredible. But do you get that point, though? OK, so you're on TV and you're obviously working live in theatre.
Yeah.
It's all very dramatic. Do you take work home with you? Like, do you get home and go, I don't want any drama, we're in the pyjamas, we're watching TV?
I would love that, but I've got a 3-year-old and a 7-year-old, so there's so much drama. So many tears. They're not usually mine, but yeah.
Excellent.
So
well, you're going to be busy on stage and screen. You've got some recording to do at home to make sure you get across it. Kat's new show, 5 Bedrooms, premieres 8:30 Wednesday night right here on 10. Details for Heisenberg at the Melbourne Theatre Company are on our website. Would you please thank Cat Stewart?
That's all we've got time for tonight. Thanks to Dave Thornton and thanks to Josh Frydenberg for joining us.
Thank you.
The Living Room is coming up next. Have a great Friday night. Good night.